Hey guys, welcome back. So this week I'm going to be doing a lot of videos trying to do some stuff I've been wanting to do. And so this top 10 is about superheroes. We've had a lot of different superhero movies come out, especially with the MCU, the DCU trying to catch up with these movies, and there are so many movies that go back even to like the 89 Batman movie and other movies like that. So I want to throw my hat in and talk about some of my favorite comic book movies. So here it is. This is my top 10 comic book movies. Now, there have been so many, and some of them I think don't get enough recognition. So I actually made a separate list of underrated ones, and that'll come out at a later date. So without further ado, here you go. Number 10 is Suicide Squad. Now, I know a lot of people don't like Suicide Squad, but I happen to enjoy it. I think it's a fun movie, and I think they nailed some of the characters like Amanda Waller and Deadshot and Harley Quinn as well were really well done. But I think a couple of things kind of hurt the movie. First of all, two words that a lot of people hate to hear as moviegoers and critics is studio interference. When they hear that, they think, oh, the movie must suck and they must have made it worse and blah blah blah. I don't know what it would have been like before, but I still think it's a fun movie. My only issue I had was they didn't develop the characters enough, and I think if it had a couple more action sequences where they were doing their job as a Suicide Squad before this main mission, I think it would have helped. So, but hey, I still enjoy it. I think it's fun. So number 9 on my list is V for Vendetta. Now this is my brother and I like quite a bit, and it's not a DC or Marvel movie, and I don't know who the publisher was of the comic, but V for Vendetta is a pretty cool movie, and Viggo Mortensen, if it's not Viggo Mortensen, I'm sorry, but yeah, he does a great job as the voice of V. He's very articulate and very, very charismatic, and I like that. Natalie Portman does a good job in the movie as kind of the woman with we follow to see how England becomes what it is, what it becomes, as far as it was kind of very dictatorial, and now people are starting to stand up against an oppressive regime. And so I like them. I like this movie. It's got some pretty cool scenes, some good action sequences, and of course, like I said, Viggo Mortensen is just great as the voice of V. So yeah, good movie. You should check it out. Number 8 on my list is Batman from 1989. Michael Keaton and Tim Burton do a good job with this movie. And this movie, people know now that there was a big letter writing campaign. People saying, no, you can't have Michael Keaton as Batman because he's too comedic, he's too funny, and he won't have he won't be the Batman we all know. And yeah, this is basically just like the internet now, isn't it? But he does a really good job as Batman. If you really believe this tortured soul is being Batman, that he's doing these things, but he doesn't even know why he's doing it. And not to mention, Jack Nicholson as the Joker is really good. Not the best Joker performance. Depends on your taste. Not my favorite, but I thought he was cool. He definitely had some scene stealing moments, and I really like that scene in the museum where they're just screwing up all the paintings, and that scene where he's throwing the money onto the crowd while Prince is playing. Cool stuff, and there's a really interesting style to it. And I really like the look of the Batmobile, the look of Gotham, very gothic. So it does work for Tim Burton's style and the way he presented this Batman. It was really well done. And man, I haven't seen the movie in a while, but I definitely do enjoy it, and I definitely did enjoy it when I watched it about 15, 20 times. So yeah, good movie, fun to check out. You should definitely see it. So number 7 is Amazing Spider-Man. Now, some people don't like Amazing Spider-Man, some people do, some people don't like Amazing Spider-Man 2. I will say that 2 is not as good as 1, but it's definitely my favorite Spider-Man movie, even more so than Spider-Man Homecoming. mainly because the trailers for Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, don't ruin the entire movie like Homecomings do, but I really like Andrew Garfield. He's not the stereotypical nerdish bookworm. Oh, I'm so squeamish kind of nerd. He's a lot more eccentric and kind of, yeah, got it. And his chemistry with Emma Stone, sorry, not Emma Watson, Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy is so much better than the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst, or the Spider-Man Homecoming with Tom Holland and who was it? Who was that woman? Yeah, that's the thing though. And the other two, she was basically like a superhero girlfriend. They didn't really give her enough of a personality. Whereas in Amazing Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy is definitely a character herself. She's very helpful to Spider-Man. She is smart in her own right and is able to help Spider-Man and give him true support, not just a moral support. And I like the villain in this movie because he was just sympathetic in a different way than Spider-Man Homecomings. He was desperate to have his arm back. So yeah, I can't really. He was so desperate to want to have that back that he did some really crazy stuff to himself and started to do that to the rest of the city. And yeah, this Spider-Man as well. There's some really cool action sequences. It has one of my favorite Stan Lee cameos in it as well, and it's not too distracting because it happens towards the end of a fight scene. By the time the cameo's over, the fight scene's over, and you're just laughing and enjoying the cameo as well as enjoying the action in it too. So yeah, good stuff. I enjoy it. It is my favorite Spider-Man movie. Well, what do you think? Let's get to this question. What's your favorite Spider-Man movie? Mine's Amazing Spider-Man. How about you? So, next one, number 6 is X-Men: Days of Future Past. This is my favorite X-Men movie. Or should I say, favorite X-Men movie that has X-Men in the title. I'll get to my favorite movie of the X-Men later. But, yeah. This movie is really good. The opening sequence alone just hooks you into the world. And when I saw it, the first thing I thought about was Magneto. Not just Magneto, Eric Lensher, the man who he was, because he has now seen the Holocaust happen twice. And the second time, he couldn't stop it. He tried to, but couldn't. And it does a really good job of establishing the rules of time travel and sticking to them. And not, oh, we can change it because of this and that. No. They stick to it, and there's always that constant threat of the Sentinels attacking where they're holed up at. And there's some really fun sequences with Wolverine and the other mutants that he encounters in the 60s. 70s. I'm getting my decades confused. How he encounters Magneto and Charles Xavier and Hank McCoy and so many, and Mystique, the whole thing. And thankfully in that time period they kept it kind of small, which helps to build the characters just enough that we know what they're going to be doing. And it's great that they have a jumping off point with First Class so that we don't have to reintroduce the characters again. So it's a really good movie, I think, and it's my favorite movie with the X-Men title. And so, what's your favorite X-Men movie that has the X-Men in the title, not movie with the X-Men in it? So that is it for part 1. Stay tuned for part 2, where I get to the top 5 comic book movies. Till then, later.